In all my 25 years of doing sports radio here with the Orioles entertaining the Red Sox with first place at stake every night and a playoff berth at stake for the Orioles. Luke Jones will be on the scene at Camden Yards all week long for bird watching. And, of course, during the afternoons, we'll be on the backfields at Owings Mills as the Ravens prepare to travel to Jacksonville. I'll be in Jacksonville, hopefully sitting in the pool having a cocktail while I tweet. I got to get waterproof tweeting for the pool in Jacksonville. This guy knows Jacksonville pretty well. He was drafted there many moons ago, 13 years ago, as a fourth-round draft pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Played a number of years there with Coughlin as well as Jack Del Rio. We welcome George Reister back onto the program, one of our defending champions from Los Angeles, California, and working for Fox out there and doing some sports media as well. George, great to have you back on the program, man. How's life out in La La Land, man?
Man, it's great. It is 92 degrees outside. It's always feeling good.
Tell me about seeing that stadium packed the way it was over the weekend. We'll get to Jacksonville and the Ravens and the league and all that, but, you played in the league a while and, obviously spent some time out there in L.A. and also out in the Pac-10 up in Oregon. But the NFL thing in L.A., it feels like it can get swallowed up, but it certainly felt larger than life on Sunday.
Yeah, there's been a lot of energy in the city. I didn't think it was going to be quite as big just because of the way that they left. And there didn't seem to be that many Rams fans, Raiders fans. But I coach my son's his flag football team, and I'm around his baseball team all the time. And you see some of the dads and some of the kids sporting Rams gear. They're like, well, it's our home city team, so we got to support. And the crowd was just amazing. I mean, the crowd was better than a USC or UCLA game, which was very surprising because LA crowds at Laker games, UCLA, USC, or Clipper games, they're not a ruckus bunch. Like, it's not like you go to, like you go to Green Bay or Buffalo and you have these rabid fans that, LA is usually, sit, look at us, don't want to break a sweat cheering. That way we don't. Hello?
Yeah, George, I lost you there for just a quick second.
Or neither are the Arizona Cardinals or some other team that's going to go, 11-5 or 12-4.
For you with the Jaguars and this improvement and Gus Bradley, and I know, you're sort of identified with that franchise at this point. Clearly, these have not been good days the last couple of years. They feel like they have the makings of something that could be trouble for the Ravens on Sunday.
If you look at the Jaguars team, especially defensively, they look formidable. I mean, they look like a good quality NFL defense. And you look at Blake Bortles, he looks good as a quarterback. They got the two, they got Allen Hurns, Allen Robinson at the wide receiver. So this is a team that has to turn that corner now because they are actually a team that's built to win. And you're going to see what Gus Bradley is really made out of as an NFL coach this season because at some point in time, whether they make the playoffs or not, he's got to get these guys to the switch has to come on. The light bulb has to come on and say, oh, we know how to win. We are going to put some teams away because it's not for lack of talent at this point in time. Their running back situation could be a little bit better, but when you have a great quarterback, you don't need that frontline top-tier running back. You just have to have a bunch of guys that can play by committee.
Longtime Jaguar George Reister joining us here. You can follow him out on Twitter at his name. That's WRIGHSTER. And, of course, a proud Oregon Duck as well. For the Ravens, beating these lesser lights, beating Buffalo, beating Cleveland, it's hard when this is what your schedule is for anyone to take you seriously. I know it's nice being 2-0 for a change, and I know John Harbaugh is very comfortable with that at this point. But some of these franchises, whether it's Cleveland or Buffalo, it feels like week after week, I don't know where they're going to be able to win football games on their schedule.
Oh, yeah. Those teams are bad. But if you're a Ravens fan, slow down. Don't be greedy. Stop being judgmental. I will say because it could be last year. You could be sitting in last year where everybody is hurt, your team is decimated with injuries, and the Flacco's hurt. He's got no help. You got no defense. And this year we want to complain about being 2-0, about who we played. We don't know what this team is made out of. It doesn't matter. You piled up enough. You piled up 2 wins, and all you need is 8 more. Eight more will get you to the playoffs. So you got to go 8 and 8-6
6, yes.
for the rest of the season just to make the playoffs. I mean, that's almost 500 football. If you know that you only got to play 500 football to get to the playoffs, and you got another game versus the Browns, you should be happy because that should mean that you should only have to go 7-5.
George, you know I'm an upbeat guy, right? So, I mean, I wrote a column on Monday after the game out at WNST.net. I said, just enjoy the prosperity. I remember last season there was no prosperity to enjoy. I mean, we didn't really even have a year here last year. We got the Orioles, working toward the playoffs right now. These are the good days. But then the question is, where's the growth, especially for the Ravens? Steve Smith, Dennis Pitta, Perryman, Flacco, Suggs, all of these guys injured. Most of them, Suggs aside, are not only back but contributing at a really, really nice level that really starts to get you thinking this 8-6 thing you speak of is very possible this year.
Oh, it's definitely possible. But the big question is going to be, how are you guys going to fare versus the other good teams in your division, the Bengals and the Steelers? I mean, you guys probably have the best division in all of football. Probably the NFC West with Seattle and Arizona is formidable as well. They both have contenders in there. I mean, I look at this Ravens team, and personally, they don't look as good the first 2 weeks as I would say that the Steelers and the Bengals have.
Sure.
But you got to get in the tournament, and it's a long season, and there's a lot of time for growth. And Harbaugh has shown that that he's capable of winning a championship. But last week, though, I was talking about Joe Flacco. There was some talk about Joe Flacco, whether Joe Flacco was elite or not. And it was a GM on television. He was saying that he thought that he was elite, however, that the Ravens just kind of handcuffed him. And I think that it's about time that Joe Flacco, that he starts earning his money. And when I say earning his money that like the focus of the team can't be, we are going to limit that we're going to be a defensive team. We're going to play conservative on offense. You don't pay a quarterback $20 million a year, over $20 million a year, and $120 million to play conservative. No, you play him to, okay, listen, we're going to put our defense in the most advantageous situation by scoring a lot of points and letting them pin their ears back against the other team's offense.
He is George Reister, longtime NFL player and Oregon Duck. He does sports media out in the Los Angeles area as well as at Fox. And, for the Patriots this week in this Thursday night matchup with the Houston Texans, first off, Houston's looking pretty good. I think we're all in agreement with that. But for many, many years, Belichick, what would he be without Tom Brady? Well, he's 2-0 without Tom Brady right now. So, they got some things going on there. All they wanted to do was kind of split these first games, and they're at least going to pull that off.
So the question of what would Belichick be without Tom Brady, he went 10-6 with Matt Castle, missed the playoffs, and now he's 2-0 with Garoppolo. So he can win, but he can't win championships without Tom Brady. And probably the same could be said the other way around as well, because you look at Peyton Manning's career and you look at how much he was responsible for doing on his teams a lot of times. He was essentially the offensive coordinator. Tom Brady, on the other hand, has Belichick and has had some great coordinators along the way to ease some of that load off of him, and he can go out and just be the quarterback. He can be the leader of the team and focus on the on-the-field stuff as opposed to the schematics like Manning had to do for so many years.
I tell you what, resiliency is part of the Vikings at this point, right? You watch them on Sunday night. You watch AP come off the field like that. You see that Bradford's been there for 2.5, 3 weeks. And I have a lot of respect for Mike Zimmer. I just, I think the world of him, coming from the Marvin School and all that stuff. One of the real good people in the National Football League as well. But this has been a really, really a gut check thing for the whole franchise, right?
Yes, it has. But, I mean, as much as I like Teddy Bridgewater and I think that the arrow is up on him, let's not act like he's Tom Brady. I mean, like he's on his way up. He didn't throw a ton of touchdown passes last year, even though that, this team believes that he is a star quarterback, and I believe that. However, when you replace him with a Sam Bradford, and people have bad things to say about Sam Bradford, but when you look at his career, he's been a very serviceable quarterback. When he's healthy, he's been pretty good. It's just the fact that he's always hurt, and the best ability in sports is availability, and he's just never available. So that's why people are down on Sam Bradford. But when you look at what he did with the Eagles last year, completion percentage was pretty good. You saw him make some great throws. And last night you saw what he's capable of doing with a good team and a good defense. So I think that Mike Zimmer is doing a great job with this team in terms of keeping them mentally attuned and not giving up when they keep getting setbacks. You lose Teddy Bridgewater. He's a leader on your team and your quarterback. That's a big blow. AP gets hurt. You keep fighting. Those are the kind of things that build character within teams. And even if they don't win the championship this year, they have the makings of a team that is fortified and strong mentally, like those Ravens teams in the early 2000s, where you can hang your hat on the toughness and the resiliency of your core players.
He is George Reister. You can follow his journey out in Los Angeles at George Reister on Twitter as well as at Fox. Always great to visit with you, man. I'm looking forward to watching more Rams football from that Coliseum out there, and certainly a defensive effort like that made Seattle look kind of sick on Sunday.
It's funny because I tweeted about it. I said, isn't it funny how bad the Rams are, but they can always find a way to beat the Seahawks?
In any city, absolutely.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like you would think that as good as the Seahawks football team is, even though they've struggled on offense at the beginning of this year, which is the same thing they did last year as well, they still find a way to win. They still find a way to get in the playoffs. And the Rams, I mean, like you saw their week one, and they'll probably be more like week one in week three. But it's just something about the matchups because styles make fights sometimes, and it's what the Rams do. Their personnel just matches up really good with what the Seahawks do. But let's talk about Jeff Fisher, though. Jeff Fisher and this potential 3-year extension. This is just, like, puzzling to me. A guy is 28, 37-1, and you're going to give him an extension after you move the franchise, and he has coached in the NFL every year for the past, like, almost 20 years as a head coach, except for 2011. And do you know when the last time he made the playoffs was?
2006, probably.
2008. 2008.
Okay. That's right. We beat them.
You were.
Absolutely. We beat them down in Nashville that year with the Stover kick. That's correct. Yep.
Yep. And you were right about 2003 because that's the last time that they won that Jeff Fisher has coached a team that won a playoff game.
And that was against the Ravens as well. That was the Orlando Brown game. Yeah.
That was 13 years ago. I mean, that's just incredible. But if you are a person living in the city of Baltimore right now, you have to be excited, though, because your Ravens are 2-0.
Baseball team's doing okay, too.
And the Orioles are doing really, really well. I mean, you got a lot of big hitters out there. The pitchers are doing well. I mean, and when you look at what they've been able to do in the American League East, and even though the Yankees are still been kind of trying to fight and scratch and claw, and the Red Sox, they obviously have so much power, but they don't have any pitching. You have to be excited about where this team is going.
I'll let you know in 2 weeks. George, thanks for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure. Take care of yourself.
Okay, cool.
Longtime NFLer George Reister joining us here from the West Coast, and you can find him out on Twitter at George Reister as well as on Fox, and you can find me out in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We come in crystal clear. Nasty at WNST.net's the way to find me. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Taos in Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.